And it's the same kind of thing with Khabib. You don't see a lot of people saying, I want that guy. And with Amanda, you don't see a lot of people saying, I want that girl, right? You don't see anyone saying what you're saying about Amanda.
You cannot compare Khabib and Amanda Nunes together. You can't even put them in the same sentence. So please don't do that. They are leaps, and that's like apples and garlic. That's a comparison that you just made. Okay. No, it's fine. But I mean, don't even group them in the same sentence.
This is Johnny and Jose with Tiger Bomb MMA. And tonight we'll be going over UFC 269, Oliveira versus Poirier, giving you our entire thoughts and predictions on the entire card. But before we do that, I want to welcome back Jose after taking a bit of a hiatus. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be back. I have to say, for those of you wondering, which is probably nobody, I was gone, and the unfortunate news is that, well, there's good news and bad news. The bad news is they botched the penile implant surgery. The good news is Caitlyn Jenner now has a running mate for the next election. So.
Fantastic. But before we begin the main card and all that stuff, I wanted to break down the fight night that just happened. Recording this Saturday night, the night that Jose Aldo defeated Rob Font via 5-round decision. Just want to give you some of my thoughts about it because it was a horrible night for me. I went like 6-6 officially. There were a couple fights that were a little strange. One in particular was William Knight defeats Alonzo Menafield via decision. I don't know how that happened. Frankly, neither guy deserved to win that fight. It was an awful fight. How William Knight ended up winning it, I think via the judge's eyes, because although he got controlled for a majority of the round, the third round that is, he did kind of swing at air in the general vicinity of Menafield, which I guess won him the round. So it is what it is. What else do we have here? There's a couple, like certain things weren't out of the ordinary. The one that was Chris Curtis defeats Brendan Allen, second round TKO. 360 favorite gets knocked out by Chris Curtis again on short notice. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? So officially Brendan Allen dead to me. Clay Guida defeats Leonardo Santos via second round submission. Poor Santos, man. I had Santos to win this one. I'm glad Guida won, but dude gasses himself out in the first round trying to finish Guida. Any other judge would have stopped it, but Guida's a tough son of a bitch, and he pulled off a crazy come from behind victory. Funny enough, after the barrage from Santos, I think at a certain point, the UFC like ticker had it like 47 strikes to Santos to 2, or not 2, but 0 for Clay Guida, which means he was whipping that ass. But Guida just bounces back up and eventually just starts beating the shit out of Santos, gets it to the second round and submits the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, which was awesome for him. I was proud that I predicted pretty accurately that Jamal Hill was going to defeat Jimmy Crute. I didn't think he was going to be able to knock him out, especially that quickly, but Jesus Christ, man, Crute's striking is just, it needs to be polished, and he needs to work his ground game in the future. Basically, Jimmy Crute needs to shoot each and every time, because that was brutal, that brutal beatdown from Jamal Hill. So props to him. He recovered well from a pretty embarrassing loss, but we'll see what the future is for both of these fighters. Fiziev defeats Brad Riddell by knockout. The opposite prediction that I had Riddell by knockout. Fiziev was looking very composed in there. He didn't bounce around like he used to. And I'm like, can this fucker do that? Is he allowed to not go balls to the walls in the first 2 rounds? And he conserved his gas tank, and he landed a beautiful spinning wheel kick and knocked out Riddell, which is like beautiful. It's fantastic. And then, of course, Jose Aldo completely dominated Rob Font. I would say dominated via the rounds. It was like 5-0 in my book. It was competitive at certain points with Font, but when Aldo started letting those hands go and landing on Font, it was devastating. He was really rocking Rob Font all over the place. Surprisingly enough, it went pretty accurately to what I predicted, that Jose Aldo was going to eventually throw leg kicks, but after a certain extended period of time of Rob Font kind of mixing it up a bit. I think in the second round, I noticed like Rob Font was lead heavy on orthodox stance, which is like prime perfect for Aldo to start throwing those leg kicks, but he didn't throw them into the third. And those leg kicks, it took maybe around 5 to 8 kicks, and it actually started dropping Rob Font. So it's great to see Jose Aldo on a nice winning streak. Hopefully some big things come towards him in bantamweight. But that ends that particular fight card. Let's get started with UFC 269, the opening fight for the card at flyweight. Julian Robertson minus 400 against Priscilla Cachoeira plus 300. I don't have much to say about this one. It's literally one of the two things. Robertson's either going to dominate and get a submission because she is the quote unquote premier submission artist of that division. She's currently on a 2-fight losing streak, but she lost to pretty solid people like Tyler Santos and Miranda Maverick. As for Cachoeira, she's on the opposite end. She's on a 2-fight winning streak, defeating scrubs like Shayna Dobson and Gina Mazzani. So the Gina Mazzani fight, she knocks her out in maybe the second or third round. I can't remember. But Gina got tired holding down and grappling Priscilla. Jillian's not going to really have that problem. Gina Mazzani was taking down Priscilla pretty easily. Jillian's going to take her down easier, probably get a submission, but we'll see. But yeah, I got Julian Roberts to win this one at minus 400. Garbage bet. I'm not touching it. Man, I really do hope, though, Priscilla knocks out Jillian, because the one time I was on Jillian's side, she fucks me. So hopefully she gets knocked out.
Yeah, Jillian is dead to me. I actually confused Jillian with the other one that Valentina beat to a bloody pulp. What's her name? I forgot.
You got to be more specific, because she actually beat Priscilla Cachoeira into a bloody pulp.
No, this was let me look her up. Valentina Lauren Murphy. Well, it's confusing. Lauren Murphy and Julian Robertson. In my mind, they're interchangeable. Anyway, yeah, minus 400 for Julian Robertson. Jesus, that's almost as bad a bet as like a minus 900 on Kat Zingano in her debut Bellator fight. Yeah, you want to stay as far away from this as you can. I wouldn't even touch the 10-foot pole that you'd touch this fight with. I'm actually taking Priscilla by knockout. It's a very highly high chance that Julian does get the submission. But I would say don't count out Priscilla. This is women's MMA, so what's the rule for women's MMA? Stay the hell away from it unless it's Valentina or the co-main event, which is Amanda.
Our next bout at bantamweight, Randy Zohan Costa versus Tony Primetime Kelley. And currently the odds are in favor of Costa, minus 200. Comeback on Kelley is a plus 170. A lot of people on Tapology have Costa to win by knockout, about 73%. And I think that's the way to go. The thing about Costa, though, his last fight against Adrian Yanez, which was a barn burner, he looked fantastic in that first round. Super fast. Great jab, bloodied up Yanez on the feet, man. Really, I gained a lot of respect for Randy Costa. The thing about him is that although he's a great striker and he's coming out of a really good camp of Sanford MMA, will he pace himself as the aforementioned Fiziev did? That's what does concern me. If he starts to gas out against Tony Kelley's also a striker. He's pretty solid. I like his style, but he's not the better fighter, right? Randy Costa is definitely the better fighter, but I can definitely see Tony Kelley taking advantage of some of Costa's weak areas, which would be that gas tank, depending on how he approaches this fight. Costa has a lot of first round finishes, and I don't know, man. I don't know if I trust him to go the whole 3 rounds against Tony Kelley, who's relatively tough, but I think Costa's going to win this one. He has to win it within the first 2 rounds or show that he's more reserved with that gas tank. He's very explosive. I like Costa to win this one. I'll probably go with a decision, though, probably a 29-28. I don't know if he can knock out Tony Kelley. Kelley's not been knocked out ever. I will say he had some issues in the striking department with Ali Al-Qaisi. So we'll see. I am rooting for Costa to win this one by knockout, but I'll be very conservative and go with the decision.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Costa has what it takes to finish this fight. And I'm very, he did just get knocked out he did go through that barn burner and get knocked out 4 months ago. So that's So that's very, very worrisome, I should say. I think Randy has the potential to also get the first 2 rounds. I think if Tony has a chance, it's probably going to be in the 3rd round. If Randy gasses out and possibly even catch him. So this is a very dangerous fight for Randy. Even if he does, dominate the first 2 rounds, if he's not careful and he underestimates Tony, he could very well get knocked out. So I'll also go with Randy by either 29-28 or maybe even a split decision. I think this is a very, very close fight. Just due to if he had lost to Yanez, and not gotten knocked out, I would have said, okay, he's probably going to get a 30-27 here. But getting knocked out just makes it very close for me. I'd say probably just stay away from this one because I don't know, man. I get a feeling this is going to be one of those where it's like, oh yeah, I'm very confident it's going to go over. Fuck, and it goes like 15 seconds and he gets knocked out, just like gets touched on the chin. I don't know.
Yeah,
I get the feeling this is one of those fights.
Yeah, Costa's really good at throwing that right high kick, and it lands a lot. It's very powerful, so it's very possible it ends really quickly.
Yeah, he's got a lot of potential, and Tony Kelley, while he's not Yanez, he's still dangerous. I think so. It's not like this is a sure thing, and I think -200 is too high for this. I think it should be closer to a pick-up, to be honest. So this is definitely. The odds are definitely too high for Randy Costa for sure. So that's also a kind of a red flag for me.
Our next bout at featherweight, honestly, one of the easier fights for me to break down. Ryan the Wizard Hall versus Derek Minner. I hate to say it because I like Derek Minner, but after that horrible performance against Darren Elkins, his IQ and his gas tank are very in doubt with me, highly questionable. As much as I kind of hate Ryan Hall, and as much as I loved Ilia Topuria knocking him out, I think he takes this one. I really don't see what Derek Minner is going to bring to the table. Like he's primarily a wrestler, 1st round sub or bust. At a certain point, James Krause was kind of getting him to be a bit smarter in the cage against Charles Rosa. He kept taking him down, didn't go for broke with the submissions. It was honestly, I know Darren Elkins is the comeback king, but it was really more Derek Minner letting that fight slip, and he does that a lot. And with his primary weapon being the takedowns, his striking's not all that great, although we'll see how he does against Ryan Hall. We know what Ryan Hall wants. We know what Ryan Hall is going to do. He's going to try to get a scramble in there, and he is definitely the better grappler than Derek Minner. I don't know what the fuck I would do if Derek Minner submits Ryan Hall. I'd lose my shit. Like, that's just the last straw, man. We've seen so many black belts get submitted that shouldn't be submitted, like Leonardo Santos. So Rodolfo Vieira as well. Who the hell knows? But this one should be easy. Ryan Hall by submission. I'll go 2nd round. I will say Derek Minner might have some slight success, but Ryan Hall will do some really stupid butt scooty shit, some spinning back kicks, spinning heel kicks. Derek Minner is just going to look lost, and then eventually there's going to be a sub. So I'll go 2nd round submission, Ryan Hall.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they both fought Darren Elkins, but I think, even though it was like 2+ years ago, Ryan Hall, I think, did better. And I think by the transitive properties, he's also going to do better against Derek Minner as well. I'm just going to go with that and go with Ryan Hall. But he is also a damn whiz. I don't know why I'm associating Ryan Hall with BJ Penn as far as the jiu-jitsu is concerned.
Well, he did submit him.
No, I mean as far as his how he's the wizard and BJ was the prodigy. I don't know what connection I'm making there, besides the fact that yes, he did submit him. But in terms of I guess I'm talking about more in terms of how the level of his jiu-jitsu per se. I guess that's the association I'm making with BJ, not just because he did submit him. I don't know. I guess this guy's the white BJ. I don't. I don't know if that's something you want to. Yeah, I don't know if that's something you'd want to yell out in public.
Something you pay extra for.
Yeah, exactly. That's that's something the Asians pay for when they come to the States. But anyway, yeah. So I think Ryan Hall's he's the play here, even though he did get knocked out.
It's Ilia Topuria.
Well, no. I mean, what I'm saying is, it's always risky betting on or going with a play or a fighter when they get knocked out. Like either, I think it's like maybe less than 6 months. I've noticed that they have. It's two things. One, it's like, okay, how scrambled are their brains still? It's like, how many hits are they going to take for them to get knocked out again? Will they get knocked out easily? Then there's the other thing of how tentative are they? Are they not executing, their game plan prior to getting knocked out as well as they should be? Has their style changed from when they got knocked out till now to be, to avoid getting knocked out, again, sort of thing? Or it's, I don't know, it's kind of weird in that sense. So it's weird here too, but I think his skill set, he's got the white BJ skills. I don't know. It sounded better in my head, but yeah, I'm going with the white BJ Ryan Hall, white BJ Penn, Ryan Hall.
Next bout at flyweight, Alex Perez versus Danger Matt Schnell. Currently, the odds have it at -330 for Perez. Come back on Schnell +260. For this one, honestly, I'm going with the fade match Schnell. He lost to Rodrigo Bontorin. I think, I was at that fight card, Oliveira versus Chandler, and I was incredibly frustrated with this fucking dude. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're letting this fight slip away. He kept getting taken down. It was just not the best performance for Schnell, and I know he can perform better against the guy who's going to bring the fight. He just was super tentative. Alex Perez is going to bring that fight. He's not going to make it easy for Matt Schnell. He is the rightful favorite, but at that price tag, the -330, I think it's ridiculous. I do think Alex Perez wins this one by a decision, using his aggression, using his low calf kicks, avoiding really the length of Matt Schnell. He is going to have about almost a 5-inch reach advantage, 4.5-inch reach advantage. So he's got to be wary of that. But using his wrestling, as long as he doesn't get caught by any submissions, Schnell is a very good grappler. I think he should be fine. I will mention that he did lose his last fight, a title fight, almost a year ago against Davison. Damn, that was a long ass time ago. It felt like yesterday. But yeah, he got caught in a guillotine choke, but no shame in losing to the former champ. But yeah, I'll go with Alex Perez to win this one. It might not be the prettiest fight, it might not be the easiest fight, but I think he pulls it off. I think he's just more grittier. That performance from Schnell just kind of proved me that he doesn't have that kind of, I guess, heart to win the fight. He just did not seem interested in winning. And when he tried, he easily just kind of accepted positions. I'll go with Alex Perez to win.
Yeah, here Alex Perez is the play, but man, the odds are way overinflated. I mean, this should be like a minus, at the most, I think -200 maybe for Perez. But yeah, at over -300, this is a very, very risky parlay piece, potential parlay piece, I should say. Yeah, I would do this. If you have to go for like that long shot $1, 12-team parlay, then this is probably one of those fights you should add on there, because this is not where you want to make your money. This is, I mean, unless you want to live on the edge and be like, oh shit, if you want to, if you want to make sure that no air molecules escape your rectum for the duration of this fight, then I'd say place your bet. But this is probably a spot you want to stay away from, I would say. Yeah, very, very risky, overinflated odds. But the play is definitely Alex Perez, I think, by decision for me.
Next bout at flyweight, another bout you should stay away from. We've got cold-blooded Aaron Blanchfield versus Miranda Fear the Maverick. Currently, the odds are in favor of Blanchfield, -140. Come back on Maverick, +115. Both these girls relatively young, 22 for Blanchfield, 24 for Miranda Maverick. And man, this one's a tough fight because Miranda Maverick, her last fight was a split decision loss to Macy Barber, a fight that I thought she won. I don't know, man. These judges are fucking weird sometimes. So for me, it's a dog or pass. Funny enough, the dog in this particular fight, I think, is the better fighter. Erin Blanchfield being minus 140 is kind of ridiculous. I know she completely destroyed Sarah Alpar. And by destroy, I mean just dominated her on the ground to a unanimous decision win. It did not impress because I took a shot on Alpar. I thought she was going to make it grittier. It just confirmed that Sarah Alpar kind of sucks. And by kind of, I mean really sucks. Doesn't belong to the UFC. So by beating Sarah Alpar and dominating her and not finishing her, it doesn't look great for Erin. I don't think Erin has the really, I don't even know how to put it. Her striking sucks. Her grappling is great. I don't know if she's going to be able to out-grapple Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick, I just checked Twitter a couple hours ago, and she's looking jacked, man. She's looking ready to fight. And I like Miranda. I like what she offers to the table. Striking is pretty solid, way better than Blanchfield, despite having a, 2.5-inch reach disadvantage. I think Miranda's going to be the play here. Keep it on the feet. And if it goes to the ground, just stay heavy on Blanchfield. There's a way to negate Blanchfield on the ground. Just really stay heavy, just like Tracy Cortez did to her. And I think Miranda can do it. Just avoid any dangerous grappling positions where she can get her back taken or have her arm isolated. And she wins this fight by a decision. But again, very, very possible for another split. It's very close between these two girls. Stay away from it, but I'll go with Miranda Maverick.
Yeah, this is definitely another one you want to stay away from. Maybe even more than the last fight. Possibly about the same, but it's women's MMA, so just stay away from it completely. Don't assume this is going to go over because you really never know if Miranda Maverick she's I would say one of the more jacked women in MMA nowadays. She looks like she's really doing her arm curls, man. She looks like she's doing her pull-ups or arm curls, or I don't know what the hell she's doing to get that jacked, because I'm working on my kettlebells every day, and no way have I ever looked that damn jacked. Anyway, so it's another story. The odds are a little weird, but that being the case, I think Miranda Maverick, that does add value to it. So if you are looking to live on the edge and want to bet on this fight, and you want to bet on Miranda Maverick, I'd say do it sooner rather than later, before Miranda Maverick, she gets that minus money. I don't think a lot of money is going to come in on her or this fight in general, but I think enough might come in to where the odds are, going to flip, and and Miranda might be the favorite, and Erin, might be the plus 115 by the time the fight day comes along. So, but my recommendation is stay away from this. Just watch it and enjoy it. If women's MMA is your thing, then this is probably one of the fights we'll enjoy.
Next bout at middleweight, Andre Muniz versus your boy Eric Anders. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Muniz minus 140. Come back on your boy plus 120. Interesting bout. Like it should be clear cut for me that Muniz wins this one. I mean, he's on an excellent winning streak, submitting Jacare in his last bout, basically retiring him. He's a submission threat everywhere, man. If he gets a limb, he is going to take it home with him. The thing is, Eric Anders, I think he might be kind of live here. It could be a dog or pass situation. Him training at Fight Ready, he's looked incredible ever since going back down there. He's looking a lot more powerful. He's looking a lot more intelligent in the cage. Like his fight IQ is definitely improved. And yeah, I don't know. This one's really tough for me to pick. Like I want to go with Andre Muniz, and let's not joke around. I'm going to go with Andre Muniz. It's just that I do worry because on his record, Muniz really known for the submission game, of course, mostly in the first round. He has a lot of first round finishes on his record. He's 22-4. I do worry about the gas tank. Both of these guys do worry me about the gas tank. I just am really concerned the third round comes. Eric Anders, he does carry that power later into those rounds. And if it does go into the later rounds, he's going to pop off on Andre Muniz. So I do worry about that, of course. But I'll go with Muniz because I think he is the better fighter. If if he takes it to the ground, man, I think Eric Anders is screwed. But we'll see. We'll see what the striking's like. Eric Anders carries a lot of power. He may not be the most technical fighter with the striking, but he does carry a shit ton of power, and I can see him knocking out Muniz. But I'll take the risk in going with the favorite, laying chalk on Muniz. So I'll go with him to win this one by a second round submission.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. I think the first round, I think even though Andre Muniz has uh, in the past, done his best work in the first round, I think against Eric Anders, he's going to have to survive the first round, because I think Eric is going to come in guns blazing. I think Andre is going to try for takedowns, and if it's going to be, I think they're both going to be in survival mode for the first round. Andre is going to be in survival mode by trying not to get knocked out, but Eric is going to be in survival mode, trying not to get taken down. So hopefully, if Eric has worked on his takedown defense, it's probably going to show best in the first round. In the first round, he's going to, have the most energy, and thereby theoretically stuff the most takedowns in the first round. By the time the second round comes around, depending on what Andre's work ethic and what his gas tank is like, I think he's going to have a better chance of taking him down in the second round, assuming he doesn't get lit up in the first. And if he somehow survives the second round, I think in the third round he may have the best shot to submit Eric Anders. He might have worn him out by then. So I think the later rounds actually favor Andre here, second and third round. So I'm actually going with Andre as well, by submission. I would say late second round, maybe early mid third round.
Next bout at middleweight, we've got big Bruno Silva, not little Bruno Silva, versus Beverly Hills Ninja Jordan Wright. And currently the odds have it in favor of Bruno Silva, nearly minus 400, minus 370 currently for him. Comeback on Jordan Wright is plus 290. Right off the bat, tons of value on Jordan Wright to win this one by knockout. I know he's not a very good fighter, but I think he's always live for a possible knockout, man. Like, for real. Like, if you're wanting to take a shot on him by finish, I think it's a good play. But there's not going to be much of me talking about Jordan Wright. It's all Bruno Silva. He's going to win this one in the first round knockout. Dude has incredible cinder blocks in his hand. He's got a great ground game. All he has to do is just avoid the whirlwind of Jordan Wright, and I think he should be able to find a chin eventually. I'll say round number one. Damn, this dude carries a ton of power into the later rounds. Even when he's tired, the Andrew Sanchez fight, he's getting dominated on the ground. But for those of you who are worried, just wait a little bit, man. Just wait till the third round. Andrew Sanchez is going to do what Andrew Sanchez does and fucking blow a lead. And then he gets knocked out in the third round by Andrew Sanchez, or not Andrew Sanchez, by Bruno Silva. So I'm just saying, man, Jordan Wright's not going to be shooting for takedowns. If he does, he's going to be caught with an uppercut. But I see Bruno Silva attacking the legs first, and then eventually getting Jordan Wright against the cage, and then catching him with something. I can even see Jordan Wright bull rushing, Bruno Silva kind of sidestepping a bit, landing a counter that hurts Jordan Wright, and then he chases him against the cage and just finishes him off. Body shot, overhand right. Yeah, Jordan Wright's not surviving this one. I got Silva to win by knockout. I will be placing a bet on Bruno Silva by knockout, but on the other side, I will be taking a slight shot on Jordan Wright. I mean, fuck, dude. I don't know if you saw Bellator, but Horiguchi was dominating Sergio Pettis, and then Sergio Pettis throws a high kick into a spinning back fist, which lands and knocks out the better man in Horiguchi. So I wouldn't call it a fluke because it's a devastating technique, but let's just say Jordan Wright has that ability. So I'll go with Bruno Silva to go knock out Jordan Wright, but taking a shot on Jordan Wright as well.
Yeah, speaking of which, I'm not sure if you saw that the tournament for 2022 is bantamweight.
Ooh, baby.
In Bellator. So that makes that whole tournament, with Sergio Pettis and Horiguchi, which are both part of that tournament, very interesting. And they have guys like Patchy Mix and what's that guy, the Spaniard?
Oh
who
yeah,
lost. Looked
Archuleta.
horrible. Archuleta, yeah. I always think of pork chop when I think of that guy. Pork chop, Archuleta, pork chop. Anyway,
From Pork Chop from fucking Doug the dog.
no, more like pork chop, like when Homer likes when that Halloween episode where they get kidnapped by the aliens, and Homer asks for applesauce with his pork chops. I've never understood that. I don't know where that comes from. To me, that seems disgusting. But anyway, yeah, pork chop, Archuleta, porchuleta. So yeah, it makes it the 2022 tournament is going to be very, very interesting. Yeah, this is kind of a tough one as well, because Jordan Wright, he has that karate style. He is, I guess he more or less lives up to the Beverly Hills Ninja name, in that I'm pretty sure he's deadly in Beverly Hills, but this is a UFC man. He's got to kick it up a notch, as Emerald would say. And Bruno's no slouch either. Big Bruno versus little Bruno. Funny enough, I actually thought Bruno was taller, but looking at this, I don't know. Maybe they were measured with some high shoes or something. But Jordan's got a couple of inches on him, so that alone, like you said, brings the the kicks. That makes him live with those kicks, for a head kick knockout, either a spinning kick or just a switch kick, or I don't know, something, but makes his kicks all that much live. So this one's kind of a tough one. I mean, I think Bruno, yeah, the odds are crazy, man. Bruno's almost a 400 minus 400 favorite. That's wild. It shouldn't be that much. Should be I think under 200 or around minus 200 for Bruno. I think he'll probably get the W, but yeah, this one's very close, man. This one's crazy. I'll take a shot here with the underdog Jordan Wright, just because I think just on the odds alone, I think that adds value to betting on him. I'll say Jordan Wright by split decision.
Next bout at heavyweight, we've got a bout between Augusto Sakai and Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa. Currently, the bout is near even. That's what they have it listed. It is even. It's minus 110, minus 110. And this one, to me, I think it's pretty simple. Funny enough, Tapology has it the other way around, but I have Augusto Sakai to knock out Tai Tuivasa. And it's all the perception that Augusto Sakai may not be as good as people thought he was, even though he has a very good resume, man. He beat Andrei Arlovski, controversial perhaps, but he beat him. They both actually beat Andrei Arlovski controversially, but he also beat Marcin Tybura by knockout and Blagoy Ivanov by split decision. Those two guys, I think, would beat Tai Tuivasa. And he is currently on a bad skid. He did get TKO'd by Alistair Overeem, but that was Alistair Overeem's final greatest performance against Augusto Sakai. He just kind of bided his time, and eventually he struck. And then, funny enough about Rosenstruck knocked him out in the first round. No real shame to getting knocked out by one of the hardest hitting heavyweights in the division, especially when he actually bum rushes you. He's going to do some damage. I think both of those guys would have really beaten Tai Tuivasa. Tuivasa's on a 3-fight winning streak against a retired Stefan Struve, Harry Hunsucker, doesn't belong, and Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy had Tai Tuivasa dead to rights, but Greg Hardy fucking, oh God, dude, I'm still mad at Greg Hardy because I actually had money on him, had him dead to rights, had him hurt, had him rocked. He gets punched in the eye and he goes down like a bitch. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Whatever. But I think Augusto Sakai, I think he's still very, very much so talented. It's been it's 5 months since he got knocked out by Rosenstruck. So that's a bit concerning. I think funny enough, they're both big dudes, but I think he's going to be the more athletic guy. I'll go with Sakai. It is heavyweight 50-50. He does have a 2-inch reach advantage, 1-inch height advantage. I'll go with Sakai, man. I think those losses are better than the 3 wins that Tai Tuivasa has. I don't think they'll speak to the caliber of fighter that Tai is, but I think the losses and the wins for Sakai indicate that he is maybe I think he's a rifle, maybe top 10, maybe 10 to be exact, but I'll go with Sakai to win this one by a second round knockout.
Yeah, man, Tai Tuivasa, he's like the heir to Mark Hunt. You know, if Mark Hunt liked to drink a lot and not train, he's not really living up to that, you know, to that sort of tough, you know, image that Mark Hunt, he didn't just portray it, he lived it, man, you know, throughout his career. And Tai Tuivasa, man, if he dedicated himself to the training, I'm pretty sure he would be, you know, he would be ranked. It says here he's ranked number 13. I don't know if that seems kind of high for me. You know, I think he should be ranked like in the 30s, to be honest. Yeah, dude, it's like he has, I think, you know, it's partly, you know, the Samoan tattoos that he has on those love handles, but I think it's partly to, you know, try to give the illusion that they're not there, which freaks me out every time I see him jiggle. I'm like, I know it's like some sort of illusion that he's trying to create, but anyway, that freaks me the hell out. And so, yeah, Tai Tuivasa, he's, yeah, like you said, his wins aren't all that great, man. He did beat Greg Hardy, but Greg, yeah, I don't know. I think Greg Hardy had a flashback to when he was beating, you know, was it his wife or his girlfriend or the girl at the drive-through? I don't know. He got a flashback when he was beating some woman down, and then I guess, you know, somebody in the crowd yelled, "Lawyer," and he's like, "What?" He gets knocked in the eye and he gets knocked out. It's like, what the hell? You know, he thought he was going to get, you know, sued again or some shit. But Sakai is the better fighter here. Like you said, it is worrisome that it's been less than 6 months that he got knocked, but he didn't just get knocked out, man. He got knocked out by Rosenstruck. Rosenstruck is crazy, man. He, you know, he basically destroyed Overeem's face and countless other, you know, heavyweights. And Overeem is no slouch, man. He, you know, as non-manly as Overeem looked against what was that Russian's name, Volkov?
Yep.
Yeah, as non-manly as Overeem looked against Volkov, he looked great against Sakai, man. Because Overeem, I guess a lot of people know him, you know, as a striker and whatnot, but he's great on the ground. He has great jiu-jitsu and he has great grappling. He just doesn't use it too much because he's, you know, a little bit older and he just doesn't have the cardio for it like he used to, but he is fantastic on the ground. And, you know, Sakai found that out. That being the case, whilst I guess Sakai wasn't, you know, better than Overeem on the ground, for sure he's better than Tuivasa on the ground. Tuivasa is like, you know, those he's like those big, you know, snapping alligator turtles. Yeah, they're pretty damn tough when they're, you know, right side up, but then when they're upside down, then okay, but yeah, they still might bite your damn hand off, but still. But yeah, those things are not getting back up, you know, once they're on their back. Same thing for Tuivasa. Tuivasa is not an explosive heavyweight, so if Sakai takes him down once, that's it. Actually, maybe, you know, if it's early on in the first round, he might be able to get back up. But if he takes him down toward the end of the first round, second round, third round, that's it for Tuivasa. And I think that's what Sakai is going to probably do as well. He's going to just wear him out on the ground, and then either ground and pound him, or maybe even submit him. Who knows? But I'm going with Sakai here. I'll take him via ground and pound in the second round.
Our next bout at bantamweight, a fight between Pedro, the young Punisher Muhnoz, and Dominic, the Dominator Cruz. This one's really damn tough for me to break down. It's actually an even fight, -110, -110 for each of these guys. I am always worried about fading Dominic Cruz because back of my mind is like, this guy, he's taken a lot of punishment. He went to a split decision with Casey Kenny, which is not a good look. And the movement, I don't know, man. His movement, of course, after having multiple surgeries on his knees, he looked great to an extent moving with Casey Kenny. But I don't know, man. Pedro Munoz is a different animal. Pedro Munoz is no Casey Kenny. And despite him losing to Aldo, I mean, Aldo's on a crazy resurgence right now. So it's no shame in losing to that legend. It's just going to be, is he going to lose to another legend and Dominic Cruz? Like beating Dominic Cruz and maybe even finishing Dominic Cruz would really erase any of the previous, what, 2 or so losses that Pedro Munoz has had and kind of puts him back into contention or at least getting a bigger fight, maybe even getting a fight with Dillashaw if possible, or even Sanhagen. Shit, we'll see, man. This one's really tough for me to break down. A lot of people aren't really looking to fade Dominic Cruz right now. They think he might still have a bit in him. I'm very skeptical. The thing is, I'm not skeptical about Pedro Munoz's ability to fight. What I am worried though is that his ability to box is kind of shit sometimes. If Frankie Edgar's able to beat you by a split decision, I think Dominic Cruz is definitely going to use that footwork and kind of fuck with you. Then it comes into the factor of the leg kicks of Pedro Munoz. I know Dominic Cruz ate some leg kicks from Casey Kenny and also from Henry Cejudo. And as much as I hate to say it, it almost seems as if he doesn't allow those to affect him. He can be in excruciating pain and he won't really allow any sort of leg or foot pain to really bother him. He really demonstrated that with his title win against Dillashaw, where his legs weren't functioning all that great in the later rounds, but he just didn't seem to let that deter him. Man, this one's a coin flip, but you know what? I'll go with man, like my brain is telling me to go to Pedro Munoz, but I'm gonna go with Dominic Cruz. If the line shifts in the favor of Cruz, I might just switch and start betting on Pedro Munoz. I think it's that close of a fight. It's super tough, but just based on that boxing ability and his ability to move, I think he might be able to stifle Pedro to a decision. But again, 50-50 fight, could be another split. But yeah, I'm going with Dominic Cruz tentatively right now. I haven't really seen anything that confirms that either guy is going to win because they can both easily lose this fight depending on the judges. But I'll go with Cruz to win. I think he's got a friendlier judge style. So Cruz decision.
Here's what I think is maybe confusing you a bit is that they're showing Dominic Cruz, I think from when he actually fought Uriah Faber.
Yep, I thought that same shit because that Budweiser lime logo's in the back, and I know the trap that I'm falling into. I just
so that's like a 10-year-old picture you're looking at, man. Yeah, you're looking at like 20-year-old. How old is he now? You're looking at 25-year-old Dominic Cruz in his prime, in the Tapology photo.
Oh, dude.
So I think that's partially, what threw you off a little bit.
Well,
the other thing,
dude, I gotta say, I just remember that fight with Frankie Edgar and fucking Pedro Munoz getting outboxed by Frankie, and I'm like, oh, dude, if that shit happens again, and I'm on the Pedro Munoz side, I would fucking hate it. That's what kind of gets me screwed up, and I know, dude, I know it's Dominic Cruz at 35 years old or 36 years old, but I'm like, fuck, if he's able to perform once more and just outbox Pedro, I fucking hate myself if I'm not on the Dominic Cruz side.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't realize Pedro was 35 and Dominic was 36, but Dominic has a lot of miles on him. He doesn't have, I think he has less fights than Pedro professionally. But he's been through some wars, man, and he's had a lot of surgeries. He's a lot more. He just has a lot more miles on him than Pedro does, even though they're only 1 year apart and change. And yes, Dominic has fought top tier competition, maybe not as of late, but this one is pretty tough. I would say I'm actually taking Pedro Munoz here. Reluctantly, he should drop the young part, from his nickname. He should just be the Punisher because he's 35, man. There's a certain point where it's like, young doesn't really, doesn't really go with your image and whatnot anymore. It's really, I think this is Pedro Munoz's fight to lose. If he comes in prepped, like he did against Cody Garbrandt and goes to war Even how he came in prepped against Jimmy Rivera. I think he'll not easily, but I think he'll get the 30-27 against Dominic. But if he comes in tentative, like he did against Frankie and Jose Aldo, and if he lets Dominic, have octagon control and just kind of back up the whole time against the cage and let him tee off, then he's going to get beat. He's not going to get beat down, but he's just going to get out volume because Dominic Cruz, he's a volume guy. You know what I mean? He's not the same he's not the same Dominic from 10 years ago where he has that crazy footwork and speed. Still has the footwork, but you can see it coming a mile away. You know what I mean? I think probably Stefan Struve has better and faster footwork than Dominic Cruz at this point. So this is a tough one. Like I said, this is Pedro's fight to lose. I'm still going with him. I'll take him by split decision here. I think he'll probably get it done that way.
Next up at featherweight, we've got the return of Josh Emmett after nearly a 2-year layoff versus Dan 50K Ige. And currently the odds have it in favor of the returning Josh Emmett. minus 220. Comeback on Ige is plus 180. Interesting because 3-round Dan Ige is pretty solid. His only 2 losses as of late have been to 5-rounders against Calvin Kattar and Chan Sung Jung. It does kind of prove that Dan Ige, although he is very skilled and he's got a lot of power and he's good almost everywhere, that if you put him up against a certain caliber of fighter, I don't think he's going to do well, especially in main events. He is fighting Josh Emmett, an older gentleman. He's 36 years old, coming off of a layoff. But the thing about Josh Emmett is that dude is a fucking scrapper, man. That crazy fight with him and Shane Burgos, he's basically on one leg. That's primarily why he was gone, is that he had to have surgery and recover from a leg injury. And he's had a whole ton of bad luck, man. Poor Josh Emmett his loss to Jeremy Stevens is still kind of one of those like what if situations. Had he not gotten brutally knocked out by the killer that is Jeremy Stevens, would he have been either a champion or fought for a title, or at least, been in that contention talk for a title shot? And I cannot go against Josh Emmett, man. Although I hate to say it, is the more fragile guy in this fight. I think I say that in all due respect. Like, the dude's not going to quit, but he is probably going to get hurt against Dan Ige. I don't think Dan Ige is going to have the power to really wobble Josh Emmett. It's very possible. Josh Emmett does carry all the power in this fight. If there's going to be a finish, it's going to be from Josh Emmett and this crazy fucking power. Funny enough, I just realized he kind of looks like Johnny Sins, that one porn star that's always everywhere being doctor and shit. I guess he's now a UFC fighter. I think Josh Emmett wins this one. His grappling, his power, as long as he's tip top and ready to fight, I think he wins this one by a decision. I don't think he's going to be able to knock out Dan Ige. Dan Ige is fucking tough, man. I just don't see it happening. If it does, popping off, going crazy. But I got Josh Emmett by decision. It might bite me in the ass. He might be showing his age after in this fight, or maybe even after this fight. But just knowing what he can do and what he's willing to do in the cage, I'll go with Josh Emmett to win because he's a goddamn dog.
Yeah, man, Josh Emmett. Yeah, it's crazy that he's a favorite coming in here. I would have said, even with his last loss, Danny Ige should be the favorite, which I think he should be. So the odds are a little skewed there. But as a fighter, I think I definitely, think that Josh Emmett is the tougher, grittier fighter. Yeah, but I think Dan might have the volume here. So this is a tough one. And it's mainly just because, Josh has been out for a while.
Yeah, I do worry about him being rusty. You got a point, because I do look back at that fight against him and Michael Johnson. He just did not have really the best night, even though he got a spectacular knockout. I kind of do worry about that a little bit. But yeah,
is he going to look 46, or is he going to look, This is a tough one. I think this is probably one of the tougher ones. But you know what? I'll just keep going with Josh, until he loses. I don't know if I just jinxed it or not, but I think he's a tougher fighter, and I think he's going to have, this is all just an assumption at this point. But I think he has, or he's shown in the past that he has great counters. Not simply because he can counter, but the power he has behind his punches, as Shane Burgos found out. And I think that's probably going to be his best weapon, his great counters, just putting all that power behind it. Dan's going to have to bring a lot of volume to wear down Josh. But I'm sticking with Josh. I'll take him by decision here. I don't know if you'll be able to knock out Dan or submit him or anything.
And before we begin the main card and we break that down, please like, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. I really enjoy being on Twitter as of late because I post a lot of stupid jokes during the fights. So if you're interested during this particular fight card and reading some of my stupid jokes, go follow me on Twitter at TigerBomb MMA on both platforms. Also, because I'm in the giving mood and this being the holiday season in December, I will be giving out Tiger Bomb MMA stickers. Just hit me up, tigerbombmma@gmail.com. Send me your info. I'll send you a free sticker. I'll be putting a image right now of the sticker. Look how pretty and shiny it is. If you're interested, just hit me up. Be sending those out for free. Just give me your information, your social security number, and we're good to go. But yeah, let's break down this main card with pretty good opener, man. It's Sean O'Malley, that is, against Julianna Pena. And currently the odds are at 310, minus 310 for O'Malley. Comeback on Paiva is plus 250. And right off the bat, I'm thinking that plus 250 is looking real good for Paiva, who recently got his ass beat by Kyler Phillips and came back and won a decision, which, if we're being honest, he didn't deserve to win that decision. I think it would have been either a draw or somehow still a win for Kyler Phillips with maybe a 10-8 in the first round. But to know that he can take that ass whooping and come back and win is like, ooh, it's tempting. I'm like foaming at the mouth trying to get that plus 250. But it should really be an easy one to break down. I think Julianna Pena, well-rounded everywhere. I think the tougher guy, but I think he's going to be completely outmatched on the feet by Sean O'Malley. We've seen what Sean can do. That dude's got some great striking, man. He knocks out a lot of top-level dudes, but the dude is fucking fragile. Let's just get that out of the way. We know he's fucking fragile. Minus 310 on Sean O'Malley is difficult. That's a difficult pill to swallow because what if Julianna Pena lands just the right amount of leg kicks, maybe the one or the two? It doesn't matter. Like at this point, I do not consider Sean O'Malley to be a guy that's ever going to fight for the title. I think he's going to get broken by some of the tougher dudes in the division. His striking is great, man, but I think he is very fragile. His body just can't take certain punishment. And with for example, the fight against Chris Montinho, he's beating his ass. He's beating the shit out of him until the third round. And I guess he broke his hands. That's what he said, that he broke his hands punching Montinho's head. Like, that is not a good sign, man. Like, you're fucking fragile as shit. So I would say stay away from it. Just enjoy it. But if you're feeling a little nuts, man, bet that Julianna Pena at plus 250. I think he's got it in him to win this fight. He is, again, outmatched. He's got a reach disadvantage and a height disadvantage, but that didn't really matter against him and Kyler Phillips, man. It's just, I think the dude's a dog. I just don't think he's all that better than O'Malley on the feet. I think if O'Malley really puts it on him, he can get him out of there in the first round. So I'm going to go with O'Malley reluctantly. I'm not betting him. I wouldn't add him into a parlay, especially in this particular fight. If you're fading him against, or not necessarily fading him, but if you're betting on him against other caliber competition, those that have been knocked out and are likely to crumble, I would say go with Sean. But in this particular fight, I don't know, man. Paiva's a crazy live dog, but I'll go with O'Malley to win this one by a decision. If not a decision, I think he gets him out of there in the first round by strikes. So I'll be a pussy. I'll go O'Malley decision.
Yeah, this one's pointing to O'Malley. It's just the odds are crazy, man. The bookmakers are making you pay a premium for O'Malley. I think he's definitely got the advantage on the feet, like you said, for sure. But if it gets to the ground, I don't know. It's very, it can get very tricky down there with Paiva. And, Paiva is damn, try saying that at least once. Paiva's path to victory, I did it, is definitely, those calf kicks, man. Anybody who has a little, a little bit of common sense, realizes, oh, that's all you have to do to beat O'Malley. Kick those skinny ass calves. So hopefully he did, or he will, I should say. And I don't want to say it's Paiva's fight to lose, but I guess it's O'Malley's fight to lose. Did he learn how to defend leg kicks, or did he bother doing any, sort of calf exercises to put a little bit of muscle on those calves? Or I don't know, who knows? But yeah, this is even though things are, like I said, most things are pointing toward O'Malley getting that W here. The odds just are very, what's the word?
Jewist.
Yeah. Not, let's just say the odds are like wanting to basically go anywhere in LA. You don't, because you're probably going to get shot, robbed, and one before the other. Who knows? So it's very, you just don't want to do it. It's reluctantly O'Malley, but like I said, the odds are just, I don't know, they make you want to stay away from it. So I'd say stay away from this, unless, like I said, you want to include it on your $1 Hail Mary parlay. But I guess maybe even possibly the what is it, the decision prop would be okay, or maybe even the knockout prop. Maybe O'Malley knocks out Paiva. I don't know if that would be the case. I think Paiva's too good to get knocked out, but who knows? Maybe he's underestimating O'Malley. Who knows? There's a lot of factors here, but this is pointing toward an O'Malley. I think this is probably going to, if O'Malley wins, which is, highly likely, I think he's going to go, he's going to start to face top 10 competition. And then he's really going to get his ass beat, like you said, against the Sanhagens and what's the other guy's name? The little guy who even the Funk Master, he has him to worry about.
You mean the champion? The current champion?
Yes, the current undisputed champion.
That's it.
The macho champ.
Shit.
Yeah. So I'm hopping on that O'Malley train for now.
Next fight at flyweight, making his flyweight debut, we've got Cody Garbrandt versus Kai Kara France. Don't Blink versus No Love. Interesting bout. We'll see how Cody looks. I've seen pictures of him, and he looks like he's been not necessarily cutting weight, but cutting hair to lose that weight, because he's losing his fucking hair. That's kind of devastating to see. But we'll see if he makes weight, man. He's looking a little sucked up. If Dillashaw couldn't make 125 without using some shit, I'm interested in seeing how Cody's going to do it. But currently the odds, again, minus 175 for Garbrandt, comeback on France plus 150. It's an interesting bout, man. It's really, really fascinating because they're giving Garbrandt a winnable fight, but winnable fight without the X factor of being drained, dropping down in weight. Did he do it correctly? Is he just draining water weight, or is he making lifestyle changes to get down to 125? If Cody Garbrandt performs like he normally does at this weight class, I think he wins this one. I think he even knocks out Kai Kara France. I think he should have the speed advantage, but it really needs to be seen with these flyweights. It's a completely different speed. I like Kai Kara France. I think he's very talented, but he's not necessarily the best fighter in that division. He's, again, well-rounded. Striking's good. I think his nickname is a bit misleading. He only has one knockout in the UFC after being here for multiple fights, and that was his last fight against Rodrigo Bontorin, which I will give him props for. One of the funniest knockouts ever. knocks out Bontorin with an uppercut. He celebrates with the walk-off. Herb Dean is confused. He comes back to hit him with a hammer fist, but he stops and he runs back to celebrate. Bontorin gets up, gets pissed, throws his mouth guard on him, and Kai Kara France is like, "What the fuck? What's going on?" It was just hilarious as shit to me. But we'll see, man. This one's tough. Kai Kara France absolutely can knock out Cody Garbrandt. Garbrandt's chin has been cracked before, dropping down in weight without the cushioning of water weight in that brain. It's going to be an interesting bout. I almost don't want to even pick a side. Logically, though, dog or pass in this situation, I go with Kai Kara France to win this one. I'll say by knockout. I think this is logically the next knockout in Kai Kara France's record in the UFC, because I don't think he's going to get many more. But this is a prime time for him to win by knockout. So I'll go with him by I'll say second round knockout. Again, not very confident in that at all. I really want to see how Cody looks on that scale. So we'll see. I might change my official bet, but I'll go with Kai Kara France second round knockout.
Funny things to note. Kai Kara France's record has alternated wins and losses, at least in his last 5. So based off that, I think he's set for, a loss on his record. And the other thing is that Cody Garbrandt, as of today, he is 6 months and 1 week out from losing to Rob Font. He didn't get knocked out, but he didn't exactly win that fight either. But I just thought that was funny. If he had gotten knocked out, he'd be 1 week over my kind of 6 month limit, where I'm like, all right, he's fine. It's been over 6 months. His brain is. But the thing is that I think Kai Kara France is not, even though he does train at City Kickboxing, I don't think he's a better kickboxer or even boxer than Cody Garbrandt. As you mentioned, I think the biggest X factor here, well, here's the thing. If they fought at 135, Cody Garbrandt would take Kai Kara France apart in the first round, I think. At 125, I think he's going to be depleted, especially this being I think it's his first fight, right? At 125.
Yep, official.
Yeah, I think he's going to be depleted. His gas tank, I don't think is going to be all that great. His being his first actual cut. Yeah, he doesn't look too great. So hopefully, they take him to a Jamba Juice or something after the weigh-ins. Yeah, so it's tough. This to me is Cody's fight to lose. It's all really dependent on his gas tank. How good his gas tank is going to be. I think he's going to have at least one good round, but then what worries me is that he's going to go into the second and third round depleted, and then he's going to make Kai Kara France look a lot better than he is. Because I think Kai Kara France, I don't think he's all that great. I think all the rest of the City Kickboxing guys, you sort of have that bias toward them because of Volkanovski and Adesanya, right? When you think of these guys, you're like, oh, these guys train with them, so they have to be just as good, but they're not. And Kai Kara France is not, definitely not. So like I said, it's really just, this is Cody's fight to lose. I'm going with Cody because he's foreign. As Cody has kind of a weird dimensions to his body. He's like I guess a not short person from the waist up, but then he has baby legs. I don't know if I'm the only one that's noticed that, or maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe it's his tattoos that have visually disproportioned him to me, or maybe it's my TV or something. I don't know. But anyway, he's 4 inches taller than Kai Kara France, so there's that. So maybe we might even see a spinning wheel kick knockout from Cody Garbrandt.
Just keep that train rolling then.
Yeah, man. I'm going with Cody here, even though, in the last, 4 years, his luck hasn't really been all that great, minus the Rafael Assunção knockout. But I'm cheering for him, man. Team Alpha Midget needs a win right now.
You know what I just thought of? I thought it was pretty funny. The curse of Paige Van Zant, because they used to date.
Oh yeah, man, that's crazy. Yeah, I follow her on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, she's got Austin Garbrandt.
Well, he's about to get his ass kicked by certain dream catcher, Mousasi. He's gonna kick his ass, dude.
Oh, he's fighting Mousasi next.
Fighting Mousasi, yeah, for the title at Bellator. I'm like, oh dear. Well,
wow,
it was a good undefeated streak, Austin.
Yeah, that sucks for him. They should have given him, a few more fights to that, because, oh yeah, man, that sucks. Musasi's gonna tear him apart. Sucks for him. Are they fighting in LA by any chance?
Possible. I have no idea. All I know is that he's up next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sucks for him. Because they could have had a guy who they could have built up. I would say in the next 1 or 2 years, maybe they should have matched them up, against higher caliber guys. But oh well, sucks for him. It's neither here nor there. But yeah, I'm going with Garbrandt here I would say by decision. I don't know if he's going to have the power to knock out Cachoeira, even though he's the taller guy here, which is weird to me.
Wait, Cachoeira is the taller guy?
No, Cody is.
Oh yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, no, I'm going with Cody because he's the taller guy by 4 inches.
Gotcha.
Which is weird to say. It's like, what world are we living in?
Oh shit. Next bout, 2 proportionally sized human beings at welterweight. I don't know how the fuck this is happening, but Hands of Steel Jeff Neal versus the Argentine dagger Santiago Ponzinibbio. Currently, the odds have it minus 110, minus 110 even. And why I'm skeptical is that if you've been reading the fucking news, what's up with Jeff Neal? Is this fight actually happening? Am I wasting my time bringing this up? He got pulled over, I guess, DUI and gun charges. So I have no idea if this is actually happening, why it's still on Tapology. I don't know. I'll keep it brief. If it is happening with all the extracurricular activity Jeff Neal's been doing, I don't know. I would have picked him to win. So how the fuck is this camp doing? This is a good chance for Ponzinibbio to win this fight if there's some issues going on with Jeff Neal outside the cage. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, one of which was against Stephen Thompson. And then the second one was against Neil Magny. That was an interesting fight to judge against Neal because Neal's landing volume, but Jeff is landing the power. So I guess they went with volume with Jeff Neal. I have to rewatch it, but I thought at the time Jeff Neal won it. Oh man, I'm concerned for Jeff Neal's mental health. It's difficult because, again, I would have gone with Jeff Neal to win because I think he's very talented, very fast. He hits hard, good team. And Ponzinibbio recently has been knocked out. 10 months ago, his fight with Miguel Baeza was incredible. He gutted it out, but I just don't think he'll have the fortitude to, protect himself from the onslaught of Jeff Neal. So I'm reluctantly going with him still. I'm not going to change my pick because more than likely this fight gets canceled. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen, but there might be some value in Santiago to win this fight. Yeah, so I don't really know what the fuck's going on with Jeff Neal, but currently going with him still round number 1 knockout.
Yeah, this is the case of when for professional sports teams when there's some sort of event that affects one of the players, it affects the whole team. You know what I mean? Or for example, this year, the Raiders losing their coach, and things of that nature. Those sorts of big events. It happens to affect the teams, even though it's just one person. So I think that's going to have some effect if the fight does go through. I would say I would give the advantage to Santiago here. Had nothing happened, I would have gone with Jeff Neal. But I think this is definitely going to affect Jeff. It might be the reverse. It might just cause anger issues, and he might come in here with hands of not kryptonite. What is that? Adamantium or something. And he might send Santiago into the Matrix, and he might make a guest appearance in that new Matrix movie coming up in a few weeks. But as of right now, if the fight is happening, I'm going with Ponzinibbio. More so because I think, the Pons would have been a cooler nickname than Argentine. I don't know. I didn't know that there were any daggers in Argentine. But being the Argentine, it makes no sense to me. The Pons would have been a better nickname. But yeah, if it's happening, let's go with Pons to get a decision. I don't think he's knocking him out.
Next bout, co-main event for the UFC Bantamweight Championship for the ladies, that is. Amanda, the Lioness Nunes versus the Venezuelan vixen Julianna Pena. And currently the odds, you already know the odds, but I'll tell them to you anyways. Minus 800 for Amanda Nunes. Comeback on Julianna Pena is plus 550. Being the rule that, you don't bet on women's MMA unless it's Amanda Nunes or Valentina. I don't like betting Amanda Nunes at this high, because you have to add a bunch of fucking people to bring down that price or have her win by maybe a knockout or a submission. But being that it's Valentina, damn it, I keep calling her Valentina. I guess I really want that trilogy. Being that it's Amanda Nunes and Valentina, for that matter, they're both willing and able to destroy you any way they want to, just depending on which side of the bed they wake up that day. For Julianna Pena, she's been clamoring for this fight, and I'll give her that, man. I'll give her the fact that she's been pushing for this fight, and she's actively making a spectacle to get this fight to happen. So I'll give her props for that, despite her being dead to me for years, because I had her to win in a huge parlay that would have made me like what? Yeah, she cost me a shit ton of fucking money. I put a $5 parlay, and she just had to beat her opponent. So I was really pissed that she lost to that opponent, but I softened on it because that opponent was Valentina Shevchenko, and it was my fucking fault. And I should have never put not Valentina, but I should have never put Julianna in that spot. But yeah, Julianna kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Like, she's getting submitted by Jermaine Duranami, a striker, and she's having close fights with Nico Montano. On paper, it's going to be Amanda's by finish, whether it be first, whatever fucking round. It's just really how badly Amanda wants to punish Julianna. I would absolutely love it, though, if Julianna wins. And, of course, there's a chance. This is women's MMA. Amanda Nunes cutting back down to bantamweight. It's not her preferred weight class. So, yes, Julianna can find a way to win. She's tough. She can grit it out, despite her record being, 10-4. They have the equal amount of losses. Maybe this is Julianna Pena's chance to beat the GOAT, and then she ends up having a huge run. We don't know that, of course, until they fight. But yeah, it's really nonsense for me to try to go with Pena. But I will put a small bet on her, because I always go with ridiculous, stupid plus 550 bets on women's MMA, because you never really know. So I'll go with Amanda to win. I'm going to say, let me play around with this. I'm going to go with, I'm clicking on my Tapology right now, if you can hear it, and my eyes are closed, so it's going to say that. And I guess Amanda Nunes wins by decision. Fuck it, I'll go with that. The random generator predicted it.
Yeah, I'm actually going with Amanda as well, but I'm going with third round knockout. I think she's going to play with her food for the first 2 rounds and then beat her down. Yeah, man, I don't know I don't know why they made this fight to begin with.
There's no one else.
Well, for one thing, Julianna Pena is delusional. She thinks her 3 wins in her last 5 fights, which coincidentally is in the last 5 years, she's had 3 wins. She beat Kat Zingano, Nico Montano, and Sarah McMahon. 3 wins in 5 years. Given that she beat Nico Montano in her prime and Kat Zingano in her prime, it's not. Yeah, it's nowhere near. I don't know. I guess she. Never mind. What I was going to say.
I was going to tell you the intro, because I didn't bring this up. The intro that I have in the beginning, it's her basically TKOing Ariel Helwani. So I'll give her that as well. She is giving him the verbal pegging that he deserves. It's just funny to me that Julianna Pena, outside of the cage fighting men, I guess she's like undefeated. She's been like fighting bouncers and shit. She's bitch is crazy. So I'll give her some gangster props, but she ain't beating Amanda Nunes.
No, she's gonna. Yeah, Amanda's gonna play with her a little bit. She's gonna beat her down, but my worry is that Julianna's not gonna get through the first round. You know, she's gonna feel her power, and she's just gonna crumble like a Venezuelan cookie. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean, the only chance realistically that Julianna has to win here is if Nina Nunes puts on a brunette wig and then, you know, walks down to the cage instead of Amanda for some reason come game time. But you know what, if you are going to bet this fight, I would say do the, you know, look at the props
inside the distance.
Inside the distance, Amanda by knockout, something like that, because no way Julianna Pena is gonna out anything Amanda, unless it's like I don't know, I guess maybe she has a milkshake before the fight and she'll probably outgas her that way. No idea why this is happening, because if Amanda was able to dominate Felicia Spencer, who I think is a better wrestler and grappler than Julianna Pena, Amanda was able to beat her at her own game. I think yeah, man, she stands no chance anywhere, really. Julianna Pena.
You want to know something funny? Julianna Pena is using her win against Kat Zingano 5 years ago as catalyst as to why she should be fighting Amanda Nunes, because she's like, I beat the girl who beat her years ago. As you would know, Amanda Nunes lost to Kat Zingano. I can't remember how many years ago. Pretty great fight. Fucked her up.
Almost 6 years ago.
DDT'd her a couple of times. It was dope. That's back when Kat was like, oh shit, Kat's awesome. But this is a different animal. This is now Kat. This is a lioness she's fighting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. She has 3 wins in 5 years. One of those was Kat Zingano in her prime, and but that's dude. That's like saying you beat up Mike Tyson when he was in elementary, or you stole his candy. You kicked him to the ground and ran away or something. I would say, I'm going with Nunes, 3rd round knockout.
Next bout, main event, Charles do Bronx Oliveira versus Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Poirier, minus 165. Come back on the champion, Charles Oliveira, plus 135. Interesting odds. I understand why Dustin is highly favored right now. I wouldn't say highly, but why he's favored because of the 2 wins against, Conor McGregor. And those 2 wins are interesting based on, I'll ask you, how do you feel about Conor's skill set? And did you easily fade Conor against Dustin the first 2 times? If so, I would say you're going to have to go with Charles on that one, because if you're thinking, easy money for Dustin Poirier by beating Conor McGregor, I think Charles Oliveira is going to be a rude awakening for Dustin Poirier. If you think the 2 wins are great wins because that was a great version of Conor, then Dustin Poirier is going to destroy and devour Charles Oliveira. Interesting, because you know what? Dustin Poirier is a scrappy guy. He's not a guy that's going to quit. Charles Oliveira has been known to quit. But Charles is on an excellent win streak. He's been beating some great people. He knocked out Michael Chandler, for fuck's sake. And I hold Michael Chandler near and dear to my goddamn heart. So that's a huge win, in my opinion. He destroyed Tony Ferguson. That was like, poor Tony. He choked out Kevin Lee. I just remembered that. That was awesome. Jared Gordon knocks him out. Nick Lenz knocks him out. You can sit here and bicker all day about the records and who beat who and which win is greater. It really comes down to this particular fight. And I think this is the best fight to make in this division. Of course, even without the belt, it would have been an awesome fight. Charles Oliveira, he has improved his striking and his Muay Thai. He's a lot more comfortable on the feet. His grappling, of course, is fantastic. He has been submitted in the past, and Dustin Poirier, he jumps for guillotine. He might get it this time. Darce choke is one of his favorites. It's very well matched. I think the power definitely goes to Dustin Poirier. The chin of Charles Oliveira is in question because I always worry that, as I put it, and I think Justin Gagey put it, there's still bitch in him. And I've brought that up multiple times. I think he really proved to me with that Michael Chandler fight that bitch in him has either gone away or significantly diminished, because Dustin Poirier is going to really pour it on Charles Oliveira. I don't think Poirier is going to want to try to fight on the ground. If he does, he's a fucking idiot and he deserves to lose. It's an interesting bout. It's a very close bout. I do have to go with Charles, though. Although I do think this pick is going to bite me in the ass, because Dustin Poirier, oh man, I find him right now in high esteem. I think he can win this bout. Something tells me that, like a gut feeling tells me that Charles is going to be champion for a bit. Charles, he's very dangerous on the feet now. He's very dangerous on the ground now. His confidence is up. If he dyes his hair blonde, he's definitely going to win. I've got crazy enough Charles Oliveira to win by a second round submission. I think he's going to find the neck of Poirier, and Poirier will tap or go to sleep. I just don't think Poirier, I don't think it's his time. I don't think he'll ever be undisputed UFC champion. Glad that he got the 2 wins against Conor. I thought he would have lost to Conor both times, because I thought Conor making adjustments would really help him. But after watching those fights, man, I think Conor is done. I don't think those wins are incredibly valued. I think the win against Dan Hooker is way more valuable, but even Dan Hooker was lighting him up on the feet and hurting him. And yeah, I'll go with Charles Oliveira. I think he finds a sneaky ass submission. So I'll go with him to win second round submission, more than likely a choke.
Yeah, you got it right on the money. I said exactly what I was thinking. So Dustin's tough. I'm not basing, I'm not giving. It's funny. Dustin got nowhere near the notoriety, credit, fame for beating Conor twice in a row that Nate got for beating him once.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny. Sucks for Dustin. I mean, he's respected. I respect him as a person, as a fighter. I don't respect his hot sauce, though. Apparently that stinks, according to you. And
I haven't had the super hot one yet, so I can't comment on that one. But the first one was pretty basic. He lost 1 point of respect for his hot sauce. But I mean, Dustin's a cool guy, but being a cool guy isn't going to win him this fight. So here's the thing. Dustin is a dog, and I mean that what I mean by that is he's out, he wins a lot of these fights in the pocket, meaning he goes in there to scrap. Conor in the second fight, he beat Conor because that wasn't the Conor of, that beat Eddie. I was going to say Eddie Guerrero. What's his name? Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez. That wasn't the Conor that beat Eddie Alvarez. That wasn't the Conor that beat Aldo. That wasn't, you know what I mean? That was cushy, rich Conor that he beat. And then in the third fight, in the third Conor fight, he just stayed in the pot. He's like, he's sort of like the lightweight, more powerful version of Max Holloway, in that, Max will stand in the pocket and he'll just outbox everybody. He'll be able to do that for a while, but even Max is gonna, I hope he learns some goddamn head movement, man. Otherwise, it's not gonna last too much longer. But he stands in the pocket and he just absorbs damage and is still able to, throw a lot and hurt his opponent. like he did in the Dan Hooker fight, like he did with Holloway. But Charles has shown that he's evolved his game. He's not going to stand in the pocket and just trade 1-for-1 with Poirier, like a dumbass. He's going to, use his Muay Thai. His Muay Thai has improved.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he's better on the feet than Dustin, but I'm not counting him out on the feet. I don't think he'll be able to knock out Dustin. I think Charles's best chance to win is to use his striking to somehow get it to the ground. On the ground, I think he is better than Dustin. Dustin's good on the ground, but Oliveira is, I wouldn't say he's Damian Maia level, but he's really damn good. I think he's the best on the ground, the best grappler for sure in that division. Not the best wrestler, but the best grappler. So I think he gets it to the ground. I think he's in Mr. Oliveira's neighborhood, and so I think that's where the fight's going to be decided. I would say, probably the third or fourth round. I'm predicting an Oliveira rear naked choke. We're gonna now we're gonna have two pictures to post of of a Khabib choke and an Oliveira choke, which is going to be known as the Dustin choke pretty soon. If he does get, which I am predicting, he is going to get choked out.
Well, yeah. Dustin does tend to choke, if you know what I mean. Started back in featherweight.
And it's funny, he's gonna, and then then Gaethje's gonna be up and he's gonna get triangled again, which that in itself is gonna be hilarious because he's kind of making it seem like, oh yeah, he beat the hell out of Chandler. Chandler was just stupid, but Gaethje is thinking that he somehow dominated. No, it's just Chandler was stupid. That was his fight to win. And so he's gonna get his ass beat by Oliveira in the next fight. After he gets done with Poirier, who's unfortunately, I don't think Charles is getting paid like McGregor, so I don't think he's going to get a $500K donation to his charity. So sucks for him. But maybe he'll sell some hot sauce. So who knows? So Dustin, nice guy, good fighter, but right now it's Oliveira's time. I think Oliveira is going to be champion for at least, I don't know, until he comes up with, till he fights the winner of Islam and what's his name?
Dariush,
yeah. I like Dariush. I'm not counting Dariush out of that fight.
I like
whatsoever.
Him too. He kicks
I'm not counting him out whatsoever from that fight. Dariush is an absolute live dog there. But Charles looks like he's going to get at least 2 more big paychecks, which I'm looking forward to.
Those have been our picks for UFC 269, Oliveira versus Poirier. No parlays this particular card, just honestly too risky for particular parlays right now, but maybe next card. But yeah, those have been our picks. This is Johnny and Jose with Tiger Bomb MMA. Remember, like, share, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Hit me up at tigerbombmma@gmail.com if you'd like a sticker, and we'll catch you at the next fight.